be nice then.
It was a little stuffy.
It could just be me.
right?
Quite honestly,
No, I think
our
it's
executive director is like, okay, that's fine. I wrote the remarks.
Maureen's here. My name is Matt Stimpson. I co-teach with Jake Dudas on this course, the community client course. I also run a small design agency in town called We Design, and two of my employees who are sort of former graduates from this program are right here. Zach, who's our senior designer, who was in the first year cohort, and Brooke, who we took on about a year ago. She was in the fourth year. So this is sort of the very real success stories, like the Circle of Life, as Sir Elton John sang. So we are in front of a live audience, so as I introduce people, if we could, and this applies to me as well, and I'm the worst culprit for it, but please try and refrain from swearing. But I'd welcome Maureen up first to say a few words and a land acknowledgement, if you could, please. Thank you. Maureen Adamson, our president.
So, thank you. It's really exciting to be here today. Just let me start with the land acknowledgement. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge that the land that Fleming College is on is the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe people of the North Shore of Lake Ontario and its tributaries. Fleming College has settled on this land and recognizes that the region is now home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and the importance of respecting the voices and history of Indigenous communities. We are grateful for the work on this land and will continue to build authentic and reciprocal relationships. So I just want to say this is a really exciting moment. This is when we see Fleming and all of the experiential learning that happens right here and in Haliburton come to life, and come to life in a real way that is a partnership with such an important organization like Alzheimer's. I can tell you I have a personal story about that and the work that Alzheimer's does right here in Peterborough, which is in fact where my mother suffered from Alzheimer's, was incredible. So the fact that we have students that are creating and contributing to this community in such a meaningful way, I am overjoyed and proud of what you do. And thank you to faculty for all that you do to nurture our students in this important work. So congratulations to all the students involved and all the faculty. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Xavier, our new dean, is going to come and say some words as well. So thank you, Dick. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. New, yes, this is my 7th week, so still fresh, but I'm getting in there. Yeah, we're just going to echo what Maureen just said. When the strong ties happens between the industry partners and the programs that we have is happening like that. It's a good thing for school and for us. Just want to say that the Haliburton School of Art and Design is a great school that has 2 campuses. It's one here and then one, of course, in Haliburton. It's in our names. This is the graphic design program, and then I'm sure that you're going to talk about what happened with that program better than I do. Okay, all right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Yes, so I'll, for people who don't know what we do or how we do it, this is a 2-year program. It's an accelerated program that runs through the summer as well. And the community client course is really one of the last courses that happens before the students go off and do their internships. So it's kind of a pull together and a culmination of all of the different disciplines that get taught through this course. We have some of our fellow faculty here, Jeff, Luke's here as well. We all bring a sort of a set of skills in and teach different sections from web design, content design, copywriting, photography, and then this gets sort of exercised in front of community client. And those community clients, we did United Way for a few years, and then we moved over to KPP, and we did a rebranding for them. Then CCRC came to us, and then you guys came through CCRC. So we were actually headhunted. Is that arrogant to say that? No, I don't. Yeah, no, our course was, yes, we have some notoriety now, and they said, oh yeah, we want to be involved in this. So we sat down with Alzheimer's. I'll let Jake sort of talk on details about that. But the the way we set this course up is it's like a sort of a talent contest or an X Factor show where we have a panel of judges and the students have to present in front of those people. So because in an agency environment, that's what you're having to do. You have to get out there and you have to talk elegantly about your design and pitch this to a client. So this sort of pulls together all of those skills and gives them those presentation sort of chops to go out there in the real world and hopefully exercise those skills. So I'm going to let Jake come up here and talk about sort of what we did for Alzheimer's in a little more detail. Yeah, so Jake Dudas, my co-faculty on this course. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you very much, Matt. And thank you as well to Maureen, Chris, marketing team at Fleming, Anita and Xavier for their stewardship with the GDV program, Jennifer Johnstone, Jennifer Hitchmo for the generous donation of their time, and most of all, the students for their hard work. James, Adam, Mark, and his partner Brianna, who isn't here today, you've done an exceptional job. So, the community client course is a unique opportunity for both students and community organizations. As Matt said, we were introduced to the Alzheimer Society of Peterborough, Kawartha Lakes, Northumberland and Haliburton by our previous participant, the Community Counseling and Resource Center. Work began about 6 months prior to the course. Matt and I sat down with the two Jennifers. There's actually 5 that work at the Alzheimer Society. It was a beautiful day in the fall at the Silver Bean, and we sat down and asked them one question. What would you do if you had no constraints and 10 creative teams at your disposal? Without so much as a second thought, and almost in perfect unison, they decided on a campaign to address the stigma surrounding dementia. In terms of process, next steps over the remaining months involve preparing a creative brief, exactly as creative directors and account directors would do in an agency environment. And that's exactly where this course begins. Students were handed the finished creative brief at the start of the course in January. It outlines strategy, messaging, and campaign deliverables. After extensive research and preparation, they met with the Alzheimer Society in week 4. Here they delved further into strategy and design preferences, digging deeper to find those creative insights that make for groundbreaking work. And again, a refrain. This isn't a simulation of a working experience. Matt, Anita, and I built a course that is the working experience, albeit with slightly longer time frames and room for more feedback. Over the remaining weeks, students developed their campaigns in preparation for full-scale corporate presentations, 2 of which you will see abridged versions of today. The Alzheimer Society has by far been our most ambitious client to date. They want to change perceptions on a massive scale, and they're ready to push boundaries to do it. While this is exciting for young creatives, it's also extremely daunting. It's extremely daunting for experienced creative people. It's one thing to ask students to design a local brand. It's another to be asked to produce something that's on par with Sick Kids Versus and to compete with some of the most successful campaigns in the country. We're extremely proud to say that they rose to the task to such a degree that the Alzheimer Society is not only moving forward with the work, but actually hired one of the students to do it. I'll pass this along to them to finish the story.
Thank you, Jake. And Jake's absolutely right. We did give the students quite the ambitious project. And of course, as you already mentioned, that was to help us change people's attitudes towards those who are living with dementia. Changing long-held beliefs is a really difficult task. And like Jake said, the students really surprised and delighted us and really rose to the task of doing that. So One of the things that we have found is some context for why we wanted to focus on stigma for this campaign. There was a recent study done by the Alzheimer Society of Canada about stigma. And what they found is that 50% of Canadians admit to using stigmatizing language when it comes to dementia. And when I've talked to our clients that we serve and said, what would you like to see us do more of? The resounding chorus is always that they want us to address the stigma that they face when they come out into the community. And so that was the basis for this campaign. So we shared some of that language with the students, and they were quite shocked by some of the language that we shared with them of the things that our staff and our clients hear regularly, day in and day out, and weekly. And we never want to hear those words again. And that was the foundation of the campaign, which Mark and Brianna conjured for us, created for us, which is called Be the Missing Piece. We were just so impressed with all of you, just to highlight you as students. You know, you really did blow it out of the water. And it was such a joy to be able to work with you and the staff team at Fleming. We had an absolute blast. They did their research. They asked excellent questions. And they created these incredibly powerful anti-stigma campaigns that we are so excited to be able to use in our work. Two of those presentations stood out, Adam Heizer and James Levesque, Change of Mind, which was spectacular, and you're going to get to see it at the start of it's right behind me here, and Brianna Staver and Mark Dizon's Missing Piece campaign, which you're also going to learn about shortly. We are going to be running with the Be the Missing Piece campaign, and we are going to begin with a billboard on Highway 28, which Mark is currently working on, and we're very excited. It's our first billboard, so stay tuned to social media pictures of us all standing in front of it because we're really excited. The message, though, at the end, just to kind of wrap things up here for you, is we can't allow fear and lack of knowledge to prevent people from seeking out support for dementia. We have new drugs on the horizon. All of those hinge on early interventions. We know, according to the Alzheimer Society of Canada's landmark study that just came out in September, the number of people in our community that are living with dementia is going to go up by 65% by the year 2030. That's not far away, and we need to be able to meet those early interventions as soon as possible, which is why the timing of this campaign is so important. So great big thank you to Jake and Matt. A huge thank you to the students and to Fleming for this incredible program, and we're just so excited to be here.
And now I'm going to get the stars of the show to come up and present their presentation. So Adam and James are going to go first, and then I think Mark will follow them. So give it up for these guys.
So we're just going to stand over here so as to not obstruct the screen. But firstly, I just want to say congratulations to Mark. He did an incredible job on his campaign as well. And there's no one I would rather lose to, so. All right, so we'll just get into our campaign. And as Jen mentioned, we were all about confronting the stigma, and they really gave us a lot of freedom in how we can tackle that. So let's just get right into our first idea here. This was one of the first pieces we showed to them. And as she mentioned, the language that they hear on a daily basis is things like this. If I was her, I'd shoot myself. When you talk about someone with Alzheimer's, obviously you don't want to hear that language surrounding that. So that was one of the biggest tasks for us, was how do we take that and present it to people, but don't turn them away from the campaign immediately? And how do we get them interested in it without, come across as just blatantly too aggressive? We want people to change, not to run away. I'll move on to our next part as well. Matt, if you'd like to.
Yeah, so thanks again everyone for having us. It was really fun to work on this project. So our Change of Mind campaign dealt with 3 simple words, change of mind. It had to do with people living with Alzheimer's, their minds are changing, but we also wanted to help change people's minds about these people. Yeah, go ahead. Here's our logo. We wanted to use a butterfly as sort of symbol for the change in people's lives living with Alzheimer's, but more of a positive annotation about it.
So I'll talk just briefly about the imagery for the campaign. One thing that we really focused on was showing people who could have Alzheimer's and who looked like they were strong people, had a strong emotion to the photos, because really people who have Alzheimer's have never been seen like that in a campaign. It's always a negative representation and them as a burden or something along those lines. So we really want to confront that as well.
Yeah, so I'll just echo what James said. We wanted to show these people confronting the sort of maybe the fear and lack of knowledge about Alzheimer's and tackle the stigma that Jen brought up and confront that derogatory language with some confidence and sort of like with your chest up and looking straight at it. And again, we wanted to inspire resilience, empower people, and fight the stigma.
And I'll move on to the last piece of our campaign, because the rest is just basic design stuff. But the last piece was a radio ad, and we saw this as an opportunity to inject humor, which is something that Jake had focused on. If we could do that, that would really be something that brought this campaign home. So we wanted to create something that's lighthearted and communicates the essence of our campaign. And we came up with an idea to satirize TV format. Some of you may be familiar with Sports Center or like sports talk shows. So that is what we did for our radio ad, and we will read it out for you guys now. So I'll start. Welcome to our trade deadline show tonight. Let's get right into today's topic. Should Grandpa be part of this family anymore?
His performance has been lackluster this season, to say the least. I mean, when you miss 4 family gatherings while putting up those stats?
Exactly, Jeff. And when you look at that health insurance premium, it's hard to justify keeping him on the squad for the remainder of the season. And then obviously, the narrator would come in and say, it shouldn't be normal to talk about people who have Alzheimer's like this. The discussion about Alzheimer's needs to change. Visit changeofmind.ca to learn more about Alzheimer's and how to support those who have it. And thank you guys.
Thank you. James, you even put on your DJ voice for that, so thank you very much. And I'm now going to invite Mark up to show us his campaign, which was the one that Alzheimer's kind of ran with it in the end. So, over to you.
I'm Mark. Thanks for having me, and thanks for choosing our campaign to go through it. And so it was our goal throughout the creation of this campaign to bring awareness to the stigma and lack of knowledge surrounding Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. When we have a informed community that is unwilling to confront dementia directly, we can miss early onset diagnosis and early support. So here's a logo for the missing piece. It has several meanings. So it's made up of numerous circles joined together to form the shape of a human brain, implying that life goes on even with the presence of dementia. And it also features a visual symbolism of speech bubbles, which implies conversation and community. And as you can see, the last logo, it's a monotone puzzle, and to highlight it with the campaign color and the word mark, missing piece, symbolizes the Alzheimer Society. Simply means that it is the only organization that can support people living with dementia, care partners, and families in a significant and meaningful way. And that's just the typeface we use and the primary color. We have 3 concepts. The first concept is we went to a positive messaging, and there's always more to life, and subhead would be a diagnosis doesn't mean your life is over. And that's just a mock-up. For the second concept, it's supportive messaging. The headline would be, it's never wrong to ask for help. And it's not a sign of weakness to need support. That's it. And this is the last concept, and this is day one, and this is what we're going for. It's a negative messaging. I wish they were segregated. We never want to hear that again. And that's we made 3 different ads just to make more. And that's pretty much it for our
Thank you, Mark. And as you can see from the quality of these visuals to what Jake was saying, you know, it's sick kids quality. Like the kids versus, you know, this is it. So I can see why you're going to have a big billboard and everybody's going to be stood in front of it. It's going to be great. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Jen, do you want to just say the final words? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. And one of the things that I want to highlight, I'm pausing on my face, I'm scared. Thanks. Now we'll pause on your face, that's much better. One of the things that really stood out about the Missing Piece campaign for us was also the storytelling element that Brianna and Mark brought into it. And what it really does, and what we really love about the Missing Piece campaign, is it sort of inverts what we typically think about what is missing for dementia. When you hear missing piece, your immediate gut reaction is that we're talking about the individual's brain. But what we're really talking about is the community of people around them to support them through their journey with the disease. And that's why we love the campaign so much. We've already had one of our clients sit for a photographer, and her name's Janet. She'll be on the billboards, so we recommend going and checking it out. And the words that will be next to Janet's face are words that she has been told herself. So it just brings that extra powerful meaning to the campaign. It was very touching, the photography session. And again, thank you so much, Mark and Brianna, and we're just so excited to move forward with it. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everyone. One final comment when they presented this, my feedback was that Mark looks like somewhere between Childish Gambino and Lenny Kravitz. He's like a rock star. Look at him. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
That went well.